the dresser build, right after we've done all the pre-finishing, I took your guys' advice and I kind of came up with a compromise. Some of you guys said that we should go the route of making the feet, and some of you said we should address some of the problems with the joinery. So I'm put two of them together. So on the bottom of the dresser right now, I'm going to zoom in and show, I've made some placeholder or practice feet for the dresser itself. And what I'm noticing is right off the bat, there's a sag right in the middle of the dresser itself. So I might actually have to do not just 4 feet, but 6 feet. So 1 in the center, and then, two in the center, 2 on the side, 2 on the side, all right? So the height is perfect. So if I zoom out real quick, so the height in relation to the dresser is perfect because it's not too high for a dresser. It's not for a horizontal dresser. It's just about the perfect height where it's not too cumbersome, so it's not too awkwardly high, but it's not too low that, it doesn't look like it's touching the ground. So it has that nice aesthetic where it's off the ground, but it's not so high that it looks like it's standing on stilts. So going forward, I need to see if I have enough walnut to make all of the feet. Now, if I can't, I could possibly put 1, 2, 3 walnuts in the front, and then the back half do 3 other feet of a different material, and just try to hide them by staining them the same color to make them look the same. With that said, coming to the joinery, what I did was I dry clamped the entire project in its exact spacings just to figure out some techniques of putting this together. And what I realized is that in clamping it to its full size, it cannot be glued and clamped and then transported through the house itself. Problem is that the hallway that turns into my bedroom is actually too narrow for us to lift this dresser up and then rotate it in. So what we're going to have to do is take a page from IKEA. Now, what I mean by this is I'm still going to pocket hole everything, but I am also going to make alignment pins so that when I put everything together, so I'll put alignment pins and everything, I can put everything together and it will hold in the shape that I desire before I screw it, and then when I screw it, it'll keep it from bowing out of alignment. So the nice thing about IKEA's designs and breakdown furniture in general is that it can create very large shapes that can be transported into small areas. So the nice thing about that for us is we can take that same principle to this large dresser and make it break down. All right. Now I don't want to keep taking it apart and putting it back together, taking apart and putting it back together. There is going to be some permanence to it. But the nice thing is that using those pins, I won't have to worry about the screw popping out. So that brings up the question, what am I going to use for the pins? So I found this old mason jar rack I had of mine, and what we're going to do is we'll just cut all these dowels off, and I'm just going to double check to make sure that the diameter of the dowels does not exceed the width of the shelves and the side panels, because those are a different thickness than the top and bottom shelf. Once I've determined that this is okay, or this is a suitable material, I'll cut them to about 1/2 inch height pins. Now the reason why I say 1/2 inch is because, again, I'm not gluing this together. They're only there as a placeholder to hold the project in alignment as I'm screwing it down. I don't need, they're usually about 3/4 long, so I'm only going to make them a little bit smaller so I can get more pins into the project. Now, how many pins per piece do you think I should go with? My thoughts are 28 total. All right, so that'd be 4 on this panel here, 4 on this panel, 4, 4, and then 4 and 4 on the shelves. The center one might have pins, but let's just talk about this first. So there will be pins holding the shelves up and pins holding the top in place. So the whole thing will be pinned, and then when I clamp it, it should hold its shape, and then I can screw it. The problem I'm running into with this breakdown furniture idea is that in my mind everything seems to fit, so I can take that side piece and this side piece, squish them together, screw them, that side piece, this side piece, squish them together, screw them, and then put them in place. But the problem is this middle shelf here doesn't seem to work. I mean, what you could do is you could make the sides of the shelves separate, screw, pin them, done, and then bring them into the body here, slide them over so that the center shelf, the wooden one we're making, can be pinned and then screwed and then screw everything else. Or another solution. So this is my question for my apprentices, is that how would you make the center shelf work if I'm using pins for my structure? So I'm open to any and all solutions, because again, this is my first time building such a large dresser that there are some things that I might be missing in my design itself. My thought would be, again, I would be able to construct these 2 side pieces, so the sides and the shelves, pin and screw. Then I lift them up, put the center shelf in its pins, screw it, and then slide 1, 2, 3, 4 side pieces into the bottom, screw, 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 and then bring in the top piece for the final alignment and do the same. That's kind of the assembly procedure we're probably going to take, but I'm open to new suggestions on this. The other thing I'm noticing too is I want to make 2 changes. First, on the back, the sides and the shelves are about 1/2 inch too wide, and I think when I calculated cutting them on the panel saw at the very beginning of this project, I made them too big, and that's my bad. You know, we all make mistakes. So what I'll end up having to do is I'll go to the table saw and I'll rip them back to their size. But this also is a good point to address. Maybe should I put a back panel of material here so nothing can come out the back side? It's not hard to add on, because I could cut these shorter, just short enough that the material can lay flat to the back of it, and then the 2 side pieces would have a rabbet in it, so I could just nail it in there. Or, which is the other idea, putting a 4th piece of edge banding on the top piece here to step it off the wall and nail in a back piece over the entire piece itself. Just a thought. So I'd like your guys' opinion on those 2 problems I'm running into. So once we've gotten that feedback, I'm confident in the design phase of we'll probably have all of these pre-finished and then put finish on them. So here's where it's going to be backwards. I'm actually going to, because it's not going to be glued and screwed, every part is going to get finished first. All right. Once it's been finished, all right, we're going to lay out all of the holes for the pins. All right, because that I don't. I'm only making a small hole in each piece, and I'm going to do it so that I won't make too many marks. The other thing too is we're starting to get to the point where the humidity is really starting to change, and I don't want pieces to start expanding and contracting too much. I'd rather them all be sealed and protected than it falling apart. The other thing too is, again, I have so many projects going around here, the likelihood I'm going to nick or scuff the wood and then have to go back and sand it again is pretty high. All the rest of my projects are going to be glued and screwed, but this one in particular is the only knockdown one I have. So I'm actually going to put a lot of effort into just getting this covered in finish all the way down to, all the way up to its final finish coat, so that it's protected from all the possibilities of getting dinged or scratched. With that said, I hope everyone's staying safe and I hope you guys have a great week. Bye.